Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Jikook channel. In this video, we will discuss something interesting and a shame to miss. So watch until the end. We all love seeing our favorite idols together, and in Jikook's case, things get even more interesting. Because honestly, when it comes to Jimin and Jungkook, it's never just two members interacting, it's a whole different level, a mix of playful teasing, subtle glances, quiet understanding, and yes, a touch of jealousy that fans can spot from miles away. It's like every time Jimin is around someone else, Jungkook just can't hide his little jealousy. And it's not the kind of jealousy that's destructive or loud, it's the quiet, possessive kind that shows just how much he values that person. The kind that makes fans gasp and rewind videos over and over just to catch every micro-expression. In fact, Jungkook doesn't even try to hide it, on the contrary, it often feels like he wants everyone to know he's not too happy about the situation. It's as if he's silently saying, "I see you. I see what's happening. And I'm not exactly thrilled about it." Almost like an unspoken message to the world, this one's mine. Even without words, Jungkook's actions speak loud and clear. And the beauty of it is that he doesn't have to do much, sometimes it's just a look, a pause, a step closer, or the way he positions himself in a group. Fans notice these things because they've spent years watching every little interaction, and they know when something feels different. The BTS conference moment. Let's start with a very interesting moment during a BTS conference, a clip that lives rent-free in the minds of many Jikook fans. It began when Jimin, with his usual charisma and warmth, was speaking into the microphone. His voice carried confidence, his smile was soft, and the room naturally gravitated towards him. Namjoon, being his affectionate and caring leader self, walked up and gave him a warm hug. The scene was already heartwarming, the kind of leader-to-member affection that melts hearts. But while most people's eyes were on Namjoon and Jimin, sharp-eyed fans noticed something else: Jungkook's reaction. At first, Jungkook seemed calm, maybe too calm. His eyes briefly flickered towards them, and there was the tiniest shift in his expression, just enough to suggest that he wasn't entirely comfortable. Then came the moment that spoke volumes. Jimin, after exchanging a few words with Namjoon, called out to Jungkook, who was standing very close. The distance was so small that Jungkook could easily hear him, yet he deliberately ignored the call. He didn't turn, didn't answer, almost as if to say, "You can keep talking to him, but I'm not going to jump in just yet." Namjoon continued hugging Jimin, and Jungkook's posture remained still, but his eyes told a different story. They were quietly locked on them, as if he was making sure he didn't miss a single second of what was happening. And then, as soon as Namjoon let go, Jungkook's demeanor changed instantly. He stepped in, paying attention to Jimin like he had been waiting for that exact moment. It was subtle, but the timing was perfect, like he couldn't stand seeing Jimin in someone else's arms for too long. Jealousy in the early days. This moment perfectly captures the unique dynamic between Jimin and Jungkook. They've known each other for years, and over time, their way of handling emotions has evolved. In the earlier days, Jungkook's method of dealing with jealousy was a little different. Instead of confronting it directly, he would simply ignore Jimin for a while. It might seem strange at first, but when you remember that Jungkook was still a teenager back then, it makes sense. He was learning not just how to navigate fame, but also how to manage complex feelings like affection and jealousy under the public eye. There were countless moments when Jungkook, instead of trying to pull Jimin away from someone, would just wait. He'd stand nearby watching quietly until Jimin eventually turned his attention back to him. He didn't distract himself with others, he just stayed, almost like he knew Jimin would come back to him eventually. The Namjoon hand tap incident. Another iconic example comes from a clip where Jimin, Jungkook, and Namjoon were together during a shoot. Namjoon, being his playful self, affectionately patted Jimin's shoulder. Now, most people wouldn't think twice about this, it's just friendly skinship, right? But Jungkook's reaction said otherwise. Without a word, he gently but firmly brushed Namjoon's hand away. The movement was smooth, almost casual, but the intention was clear. To some it might look possessive. But to others, it's a sign of how deeply he values and protects Jimin. Even in front of cameras, even in a playful setting, Jungkook's instincts kicked in to reclaim that moment for himself. Jimin's side of the story. Jimin isn't immune to jealousy either, though he shows it in a very different way. Where Jungkook might physically insert himself into a moment, Jimin tends to keep his jealousy under wraps. His tells are more in his eyes, in the slight tightening of his lips, in the way he might go quieter when Jungkook is paying attention to someone else. For fans who know how to read him, those moments are just as telling as Jungkook's more direct reactions. And when you put their styles together, you get a fascinating push and pull dynamic, one that feels incredibly real. Almost kisses and accidental touches. Over the years, there have been so many moments that fuel the edge. Jikook is real, a belief, not just jealousy, but those heart-stopping almost kisses, the lingering touches, the way their eyes seem to speak a language only they understand. To an outsider, these might look like coincidences or friendly gestures. But longtime fans know better. The pauses are too perfect, the glances too loaded, the smiles too soft. The interview reactions. In interviews, we've also seen jealousy make a surprise appearance. One memorable instance was when the members were asked which part of their body they liked the most. Namjoon said his skin, and Jimin, being playful, reached out to touch Namjoon's neck. Jungkook's expression shifted instantly. Gone was the neutral smile, replaced by something sharper, more focused. Later in the same interview, Jungkook answered that his favorite body part was his muscles. The interviewer flexed jokingly, making everyone laugh, but when Jimin seemed just a bit too interested in the joke, Jungkook's smile vanished in a heartbeat. These aren't rehearsed reactions. They're raw, unfiltered glimpses into his emotions, moments that are all the more powerful because they're so rare. Protectiveness beyond the stage. Jungkook's protectiveness doesn't stop at jealousy. He's the type to offer a hand when Jimin doesn't need it, to walk just a little closer than necessary, to glance over his shoulder to make sure Jimin is okay. And Jimin gives it right back, whether it's making sure Jungkook eats, standing beside him in awkward situations, or quietly supporting him during stressful moments. Their bond has balance, both can be strong and both can be vulnerable. Achievements and mutual support. Even with their individual successes, they still cheer each other on. Jungkook's 7 recently became the longest-running song by a Korean artist on Spotify's global daily top songs chart, surpassing even BTS's Dynamite. Meanwhile, Jimin's Muse has been dominating Spotify Korea for 89 consecutive days. For fans, supporting them means more than just streaming songs. It's about voting, promoting, and showing the same dedication they've shown to us for years. In the end, Jikook's story is one of connection, of quiet gestures, unspoken words, and a bond that has stood the test of time. Whether it's in the way Jungkook's eyes find Jimin in a crowded room, or the way Jimin instinctively leans into Jungkook's presence, there's a rhythm between them that's impossible to ignore. Yes, there's jealousy. Yes, there's possessiveness. But there's also trust, care, and mutual respect. And maybe that's why, even after all these years, we're still here watching, smiling, and believing in the magic of Jikook. Because some connections are just too real to fake.